Inauguration 2025. A day that can't come quick enough for most of us. Lisa and I were at dinner last night. Amazing dinner. Met an amazing gentleman. Engaged in conversations about just about a litany of topics. But one question resonated with me and took center stage this morning as reports are flooding in across the world about why this may now be ground zero. The question was, will Trump make it to Inauguration Day? Many of us praying for his safety in the hopes that it does, for the start of what we've been looking for years. In the comments below, I want to see your opinion. Put them in now, put them in at the end of the video, whichever you prefer. But there's a reason I am posing this. Why Trump is in grave danger. All surrounding one day, Inauguration Day. Well, what's the world focused on? Trump's Truth Social posts. Because they don't want you to follow the bouncing ball, I'm going to connect 7 dots for you today. Stories coming from everywhere. The wagons are circling. Information is leaking out. Reports are being issued. Reports that no one wants any further analysis on. They're leaking them out now for very good reason. They want to do it ahead of the Trump administration so that they cannot claim victory. The Trump can't claim victory for what was released. So they do a slow leak. Let's just get it out there. See, we talked about it. Where are you? When are you coming to the center of the universe? Mar-a-Lago, Bill Gates asked to come tonight. And the world went crazy. Trump could meet with whoever the hell he chooses to meet with. You don't know his modus operandi. You don't know what the intentions are. I know mine. Know your enemy. Know your enemy better than your friend. And in that you'll have protection. But yet they want to judge him. Because they want to distract you from what's coming out. The story you're not supposed to talk about. There's a final story today that I can't even air on the public platforms. One of the most critical pieces of information that could possibly be presented to the American public cannot be spoken. We're going to get you there. Alexander Downer exposes FBI's deceit in opening the Russia investigation. Who's Alexander Downer? You know who he is? He's talking about one of the original Russiagate investigators. Alex Downer was the trigger for Crossfire Hurricane, at least what our FBI used as a trigger for Crossfire Hurricane. But Durham had a different story. The investigator, Stephen McIntyre, last year I wrote an article on Durham's interview with 2 Australian diplomats who notoriously triggered the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, but we have confirmation now. The information is not new. We've known this information. We've reported this information to you, all about the investigation, what we could, where we could. It appears more or less certain to me that, as originally hypothesized, the Russia offer to assist was an embellishment by Erica Thompson that was further embellished by the FBI. Why is that so critical? Come on, Justice, we know that. I'm sure you do. Has to do with the John Durham Report. This report here, 1 paragraph within it, the trigger for the entire investigation from Papadopoulos himself. So why is this so critical? All right, my friends, we're going to take a quick pause. I need a favor from you. Make sure you're subscribed to Lisa's channel. The gentleman who we went to dinner with last night, he's like, wait, I haven't heard from you, Lisa. I haven't seen your videos post up. You have to go and assure, when you look at her page, that your bell is checked all. If not, you'll get no alerts. And those magically get turned off at times. So please double check that for me today. Or if you haven't subscribed to her, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to me, she'll put a link above. And then we're going to continue on because there is information provided within this report that can't be reported anywhere else but at Restricted Republic. Why? It makes no sense at all. But nonetheless, I'm going to cover it in great detail for you. Final report, COVID Select Committee's 2-year investigation issues 500-page plus report on lessons learned and path forward, and it confirms everything we reported 4 years ago. That's how powerful a tool Restricted Republic is. Right now, go ahead and use Trump 47. It's a heck of an offer. Basically, break even for us. $2.99 a month for 3 years. We want you there today. People don't realize that information exists. The exclusive content only available there. It means the world to Lisa. It's the way of supporting her. And then getting more of her information. The information that she absolutely adores to provide. And that's at restrictedrepublic.com. Trump47 monthly discount code. Get there today. According to the Durham Report, the FBI utilized a cherry-picked portion of a report written by Thompson regarding their meeting with Papadopoulos to justify the initiation of Crossfire Hurricane investigation into alleged collusion between Trump and Russia. The paragraph read, Papadopoulos commented that the Clintons had a lot of baggage and suggested the Trump team had plenty of material to use in its campaign. He also suggested the Trump team had received some kind of suggestion from Russia that could assist this process with the anonymous release of information. Oh, suggestion from Russia. We note that the Trump team reaction could, in the end, have little bearing of what Russia decides to do. And so Strzok took it and ran with it. Launched an investigation into many individuals, such as Carter Page. Flynn. According to Downer, Papadopoulos made no mention of Clinton emails, dirt, or any specific approach by the Russian government to the Trump campaign with an offer or suggestion of providing assistance. Rather, Downer's recollection was that Papadopoulos simply stated the Russians have information, but that was enough to launch an investigation, destroy a man's life, many men's lives. Because there was two versions, the FBI version, the Durham version. The FBI version was that George Papadopoulos met with the Australian ambassador to London, Alexander Downer, who now speaks out, and Downer's assistant, Erica Thompson. During this meeting, Papadopoulos is supposed to have suggested the Trump team have received some kind of suggestion that Russia might assist the Trump campaign by anonymously releasing damaging information. Robert Mueller comes out, and he pushes it even further. The Russian government had dirt on Hillary Clinton in the form of thousands of emails. The Durham Report reported something different. Papadopoulos made no mention of Clinton emails, dirt, or any specific approach by the Russian government to the Trump campaign. Plain and simple. But nobody gave us validation. And the only person who could really give us validation, because Papadopoulos has, said a few things, would be Alexander Downer. So with one 3-word tweet, we now know for certain Durham is right. Now, won't that trigger Trump? An entire investigation that he knew was a sham investigation is now confirmed by the source that was utilized to launch the entire investigation. That Durham was right. Papadopoulos said no such thing. Step 1. Step 2. The J6 report comes out. Shows that Liz Cheney, now accused of witness tampering, all about the House Oversight Committee. And don't think for a minute that Trump won't investigate this further. But who's going to want to stop that information from coming out? Whose interest will no longer be protected and preserved? Because we have a system, a corporation in Washington, D.C., and the corporation likes to make money. And the corporation doesn't like their dirty laundry aired. The corporation, William Webster, comes out, 100 years old. And he comes out and wants to talk to the Senate. And he wants to focus on two people, Patel and Gabbard. In a letter to senators on Thursday, the wagons are circling. Trump's danger level goes up every single day. And so all these insiders are suddenly showing up. I'm about to show you on the world stage what's happening. All in fear of Donald J. Trump. In a letter to senators on Thursday, William Webster, the only person to lead both the FBI and CIA, wrote that neither nominee meets the demands of top intelligence jobs because our intelligence officials now, they deserve the jobs. Webster, who's 100 years old, praised Patel's patriotism, but wrote that his allegiance to Trump was concerning. His record of executing the president's directive suggests a loyalty to individuals rather than the rule of law. William, I'm going to get back to that rule of law comment in a minute. You're telling me that our intelligence agencies and our Justice Department are suddenly now concerned about the rule of law. A dangerous precedent for an agency tasked with impartial enforcement of justice. Impartial enforcement of justice, that is the biggest joke statement I've heard in a long time. And about Gabbard, what does he write? Effective management of our intelligence community requires unparalleled expertise to navigate the complexities of global threats and to maintain the trust of allied nations. Without that trust, our ability to safeguard sensitive secrets and collaborate internationally is severely diminished, because we're preserving our sensitive secrets now. Didn't a bulletin just come out, a bulletin I'm about to get to, about the infiltration of China in multiple facets of our everyday lives, and now including our entire telecommunication system? But you guys have done such a bang-up job that you're going to pass judgment on Gabbard and Patel. I urge you to weigh the critical importance of nonpartisan leadership and experience. The safety of the American people and your own families depend on it. Well, there's the true part of the statement, because he's writing to the Senate. Because it's all about them, isn't it? It's never about us. This man. That's the picture they use in Politico article. Of course they do. Let's get a little bit more accurate representation of who he is. American Thinker wrote perfect paragraph for this. Now, maybe I missed it, but I don't recall a squeak from Webster about the FBI's heinous abuses under Obama or Biden, or when they were ostensibly reporting to Trump while trying to destroy, such as the investigation, the Crossfire Hurricane we just covered. Webster was silent when Obama spied on congresspeople and journalists. Shh, not a word. Didn't matter. The machine was working the way they wanted it to. Good versus evil. This is the battle, folks. He then maintained the silence about the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax, the framing of the half-witted Whitmer kidnapping defendants, the attacks on parents speaking at school board meetings, the spying on traditional Catholics, the all-out war against the January 6ers, the way the FBI consistently protected Biden and his whole family, and the vicious persecution of pro-life activists, just to name a few examples of blatant FBI partisanship. But they're all coming out of the corners now, aren't they? And Trump's danger level goes up again. But not to be outdone, the Bilderberg organization, the stuff of conspiracies, right? Well, they make a move. Because the wagons are circling. World's most secretive society appoints new leader. None other than Jens Stoltenberg. Oh, you remember him from NATO, don't you? Now, why now, I wonder? Who's been a part of this organization? Heads of the CIA, MI6, Henry Kissinger, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Prince Charles. But now Stoltenberg last month, who's now been appointed leader, warned that Trump's campaign rhetoric has raised legitimate concerns about his commitment to European security, our security. What will these people do? What ends will they go to stop Trump? Inauguration Day is coming up. Why do you think so many are asking the question, will Trump make it? Will he be allowed to make it? Why so many are praying for his safety? Because the threat level continues to go. Nadia Shadlow, I don't know why I always struggle with that name, Washington, D.C. insider, think tanker. She wrote a piece. Don't worry, Europeans should not see a potential Trump return as a threat. Instead of framing him as a destroyer of an old Europe should consider should consider how Mr. Trump's disruptive nature might help to position Europe for a better future. But they're still repositioning. But don't worry. They have Peter Thiel, don't they? Co-founder of PayPal, Palantir, we talked about him many times, very close to Trump. A staunch supporter of Donald J. Trump, they put in. His influence has grown steadily within Bilderberg, a group that convenes heads of state, corporate executives, and policymakers, but you made it a change, didn't you? Wonder if there's another relationship there you're trying to leverage to get to Peter, to assure you know what's going on with Trump, to circle the wagons further, to protect the interests of these elite against an America First agenda. What will the effect on Europe be? I care what the effect on the U.S. is. But nothing poses a greater danger, or actually second greatest danger, than Biden. All the times Biden denied meeting with Hunter's business associates, well, suddenly this comes out now. They're releasing it little by little. I can go through how many times that Biden has said, I had nothing, I know nothing, I've seen nothing, I've been nowhere. Quote after quote. You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax? There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what this is, he accused me of, is a Russia plant. They have said that this is all characteristics. 4 or 5 former head of CIA, both parties say that this has been a bunch of garbage, but it turned out not to be. Do you stand by your statement that you never spoke to your son about his overseas business dealings? Yes, I stand by that statement. Report after report all collapse overnight. Does that make Biden in a worse position? Or does that add more danger to Trump? Because further investigations, no matter what exonerations you attempt to implement prior to your departure, can't stop Trump. He's watching. He's writing. He's learning. New photos show Biden with Hunter's business associates despite past denials. But we knew all this to be true. Why now? Why are all these reports suddenly being confirmed? Why now is it suddenly being confirmed by CISA that China has invaded our grid? We've known this for years. You remember my stories on Huawei so many years ago when this all came to light, but yeah, mainstream media wouldn't cover it. So either you're choosing to selectively release this in some form of protection, but protection against what? Because the centrifuge of so many of these stories, which used to be Russia, but in actuality it's always been China. Because everything has been a distraction. Russia, distracted against the China initiatives. So now we got to start releasing it. This Biden business partnership. This Biden knowledge of a business partnership that he said never happened. At least according to photos. It's what you must surmise. Now our telecommunication grid, they're not here. Oh, they're just using it to find their own informants and destroy them or kill them, according to the New York Times. You think that's what they're concerned about? But you see, there's a lot of duck and cover going on. Only at 0.6. Jack Smith and his team, according to Rolling Stone, well, they're in high gear, as I said they would be. The shredders would be working overtime. According to 2 sources with knowledge of the matter and a former Justice Department official, several attorneys and staffers who were on the special counsel's Justice Department team, are hard-done work for its criminal investigations into Trump have already sought legal counsel or retained personal lawyers. Why? What happens when the inside needs to protect itself? What happens once the inside determines it can't protect itself quick enough? One source with knowledge of the situation tells Rolling Stone that multiple people who have worked with Smith and his core team have preemptively reviewed their private and professional communications to make sure they hadn't written anything that could be subpoenaed, publicly revealed, or used against them to paint a narrative of alleged misconduct or supposed anti-Trump bias. Did you hear it? Did you hear those shredders spinning right now? When you have this many people, this many nations, this much interest against you, Inauguration Day takes on a whole new meaning of ground zero, and that has 2 meanings, doesn't it? The launch of the reestablishment of the Great Republic of the United States of America, or a continuation forward under what has been lies and lies and lies, supported by the mainstream media, propagating the lies, the narratives against you and me, our tax dollars being burned up at a breakneck pace and not even utilized correctly. Would you read this report? I'd love to cover it for you. I'd love to go through the whole detail, and I'm going to. But this report is so sensitive, and it's the final linchpin in this picture. Sews up everything. Final report, COVID Select concludes 2-year investigation, issues 500-page final report on lessons learned and the path forward. We'll read the opening statement. It's safe enough to do that. This work will help the United States and the world predict the next pandemic, prepare for the next pandemic, protect ourselves from the next pandemic, and hopefully prevent the next pandemic. Members of the 119th Congress should continue and build off this work. Chairman Wenstrup wrote that. I'm going to put a period there for a moment. Why should they continue this work? Wall Street Journal. Behind closed doors, a spy world scientist who argued a contrary opinion. And it turns out he wasn't invited to the party. This information is so devastating. This information is so critical to understanding how this administration worked. This narrative is so critical to tying up this potential influence by adversaries that impacted our day-to-day life. And if you think for one red-hot minute that Donald J. Trump and Musk and Ramaswamy and Gabbard and Patel aren't going to dig every square inch of this information out, you'd be dead wrong. But that puts Trump in a grave amount of danger. I hope and I pray, as we're going to continue this forward now, I'm going to give you all the elements of this. Every bit of information you need, as I said earlier in the broadcast. And we're going to do it in Restricted Republic because the information within this report, although confirms everything we've told you for 4 to 5 years now, is confirmed within this report, every single detail. I am proud to report not one detail is out of alignment with what we reported. But we reported it 4 years ago. You want to find out how strong of a tool, a resource Restricted is? Get there today, and it will give you the paramount reason why so many thousands have joined us there. We want you there today. Please, again, Trump 47. It's a heck of an offer. That's $2.99 a month for 3 years. It's basically non-profitable for us at that point, but that's how important it is to us that you get the information you need. I need you there now. And I want to see in the comments below, does Trump make it to inauguration? Yes or no? You want to give a description, explanation, please. Please do. Because it starts the conversation. It's stories like this, man, that you see all these pieces, all these little all these little chess pieces being moved. You have to watch. What is checkmate? Please keep your prayers with Donald J. Trump, this great Republic of the United States of America. On behalf of Lisa Haven, we love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.